Hi everyone! So we have made it to the last day of the FND series, and today what I wanted to discuss with you all is some of the other conditions that I have. So as I mentioned in one of the early videos, FND often goes hand in hand with having complex medical histories or having other conditions that are also happening at the same time. So I'll be talking about some of the other conditions that I have got in this video. I know that there are other people with FND who have similar medical histories to me. However, there's such a variety out there, so don't be disheartened if this doesn't sound familiar for you. So in my case, the main other condition that I have is hypermobility spectrum disorder. This is similar in some respects to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which a lot of people have heard of due to it being more in the media over the last few years. It's believed that I don't have EDS, although that is being further investigated. So what this means for me is that I have flexible joints, but the issues with this are that I easily sublux my joints where they partially dislocate or sometimes fully dislocate. Also, because they easily hyperextend, that puts a lot more strain on the muscles and tendons around the joints. So I get a lot of joint pain along with that. There are a multitude of other symptoms that do go along with hypermobility spectrum disorder, and when you have a lot of other conditions going on like I do, it's sometimes hard to differentiate what is caused by which diagnosis. However, one of the other major issues that I have as a result of my hypermobility is I have really poor proprioception. So this means that I don't have an awareness for where my joints are within their movement, and when this is combined with my FND, it means even though I do have feeling in all of my limbs most of the time, I don't always know where they are in space. So I rely on seeing where my hands and feet are, or getting some kind of sensory feedback that tells me where they are in location. This is obviously one of the major challenges I have with my riding, because I can't tell where my leg position is. Also with my hands, with both my riding and my carriage driving, if I'm not looking at my hands, they can drop down and I don't realise that they have moved from where we started. Okay, so the other two conditions that I'm going to talk to you about today have little stories behind them. So the first one of these is something that I developed around 6 years ago. Basically what happened was I got a really severe case of Campylobacter, which is a type of food poisoning, and this completely ravaged my digestive system. I had food poisoning symptoms for over a month. I was put through 2 different sets of antibiotics, neither of which cleared up the problem. And as a result, that had a big knock-on effect on my body. So one of the short-term effects that we currently think I no longer have is I had a bout of reactive rheumatoid arthritis for about a year, which obviously, combined with my hypermobility, played a huge role in affecting my mobility. However, the long-term effect for me is that I have something called post-infectious IBS. So a lot of people have heard of IBS, and a lot of people, I think, assume that it's not that serious necessarily. In my case, it means that I have a very restricted diet, because after 6 years of going to see dietitians and seeing gastroenterologists, etc., the only way we can find to control my symptoms is by eliminating certain food groups. And essentially my body treats those food groups as though I'm having food poisoning again. So I cannot have any onions, garlic, tomatoes, and there are a number of other things as well. So I'm very sensitive to fructose, so I can only eat certain varieties of fruit, and then not in large quantities. So these things really affect my diet, and as a result I have to be super careful with things like onion and garlic. Even if someone uses the same knife to cut up onion and garlic and then uses it for something that I eat, I will have a reaction to that, and the reaction to it will happen within sort of 5 minutes to half an hour usually, and I get full-blown food poisoning symptoms for the next couple of days. So that's a really challenging one for me to live with on a daily basis. And then finally, the last one that I wanted to mention to you all is something that was actually discovered whilst I was going through the investigations for my FND. I had a bad fall around 2.5-3 years ago, and at the time it was thought that I just had a lot of bruising in my lower back. I mean, when I say it was a bad fall, I fell over whilst walking, just completely out of the blue. And that is one of the joys of living with hypermobility. So yeah, I literally just fell over, but I was in excruciating pain for over a month. I was on a number of painkillers, I had to take time off work, but it was just assumed that it was bad bruising. And then when the pain never went away, I was then told, well, it's the nerves continuously firing. Turns out, last year when I went for the MRI of my spine to check for other reasons that could explain my FND symptoms, it turns out that I actually have a paracentral disc extrusion as well as an annular fissure in my L5-S1 disc. In addition to that, they discovered I had a lot of facet joint degeneration around that area as well. So I've got, in layman's terms, a slipped disc with a tear. There's evidence that it is touching the nerves in my spine, although it's not trapping anything, which would cause me to lose feeling. The fact that it's touching would cause excruciating pain. Yeah. I'm in excruciating pain. Well done. Only took 3 years for us to discover why. But I'm glad that now at least I have the answers for that. Obviously the fact that I have all that damage probably is a contributing factor to the trauma that is mentioned that could cause FND. And I have also been told that EDS or HSD can be a big contributor to causing long-term trauma to the body that contributes to developing FND as well. So when you look at my medical history, it's not that surprising in some ways that this has happened. In addition to that, I also have recently been having some investigations on my cervical spine, my neck, because I was having a lot of pain there, and they've since discovered that I also have a fair bit of damage up there as well, but we don't know the cause of that as of yet. It wasn't picked up on the MRI last year, so it looks like this has happened in the space of a year. I haven't done anything that the doctors think have resulted in that, so hopefully I'm going to get some answers eventually as to what's causing this to happen to my spine as well, so that I can try and reduce it happening and getting any worse. So I hope today's video has been interesting again. Today is the last day of the FND series, and I will be doing more videos in the future about FND, I'm sure. The fact that I'm going for my inpatient rehab program, I will try and follow that journey with you all when that happens in 9 months or so. But in the meantime, I am going to continue showing you what I do on my day-to-day. I do vlogs on here. I also am doing more riding now, and I am going to be doing a couple of unboxing videos for you all. So do stick around, please do subscribe. It would be great to hear what you all thought about this 7-day mini series, and yes, I will see you all in a couple of days for the next video on this channel. See you all soon. Bye.